Does it?
No, I was just checking it out. And we're back. Here I am flying Navarro with Fly Zone Fishing. I got you to bite. That's all that matters.
Totally did.
Okay, so we're going to talk about irons.
Yep.
This is the new craze, and I'm using the word new craze, but it's not that new.
No, it's been around for 18 plus years or so.
Maybe even longer than that.
Yeah, we introduced the first butterfly jig probably 18, 20 years ago.
So let's talk about your irons that you guys make here at Shimano.
Sure. There's basically at this moment, there's two distinct styles. One being what we call a flat side, which if you notice has a lot of color on one side, and this side is basically flat. The second style is what we call a flat fall, which you notice the different teardrop shape. It's got a little bit different weight distribution on the top and the bottom. You know, but one side's colored, one side's not. So the main difference is here is when this one is dropped in the water, this requires very little effort from the fisherman. This jig will fall and flutter as it goes down like this. The fish typically will eat it on the fall. So you don't have to sit there and work really hard at this. Drop it to the bottom. When it lands on the bottom, reel it back up into the water column and let it fall and let it flutter back to the bottom.
How is that again?
Really easy. Just
one more time.
Just reel it up and then put the reel in free spool and just let that flutter down. Okay. Makes it nice and easy. Simple. The flat side jig requires a little more effort from the angler. Essentially, we're going to attach your line here, and you're going to pull this, and it's going to be a sharp jerking action.
What'd you call me?
Jerk.
Thank you.
Exactly. Tight jerking action. So you've got a jigging rod, jigging reel, mostly braid, and you're going to pull this, and you're going to turn the handle basically one jerk, one turn, one jerk, one turn. And this is going to dart side to side as you bring it up through the water column.
Okay.
What's cool about these, very attractive to your grouper, snapper, things like that on the bottom, but also blackfins, other tuna species, all the way up to bluefin tuna will eat something like this. These little guys here, they come in a bunch of different sizes. You'll see different weights, different gram sizes, depending on the individual depth of the water that you're fishing. Okay. General rule of thumb is you want to use the lightest one you can get away with in the current that you're fishing. In the Atlantic, where we have a little bit more current, you typically need a little heavier one. In the Gulf Coast, where you don't have as much current, you can get by with a little lighter one. Also different species. This flat fall is deadly on triggerfish. It just has that right flutter that they love, and they'll hit it on the way down. You'll watch that rod, bump, 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 and then finally one will get it. When the guys hit this, it's a whole different story. They crush it. Amberjacks, tunas, groupers, the whole 9 yards.
Now, I see that this one here has the hooks in the back, and that one has a hook in the front.
Yep.
What's the purpose?
You know, you'll have difference of opinions from fishermen. Some people will move this hook to the rear.
Okay.
It's really a matter of personal preference. I know the tuna guys typically like to move the hook to the back.
Okay.
A lot of your bottom fishermen, grouper fishermen, they'll leave it in that position where it's at for this particular jig. Those I typically leave the hooks right where they're at in the rear of the jig. I think it has more to do with the falling action. Okay. This one will fall like this. This one will fall like that. So it falls flatter. So it has more to do with the falling action, making sure that the hooks are in the right position to maximize your hookup ratio.
Man, I'm glad you got that one out of my hand before I got a hook in it.
I hear you.
Thanks for joining us here in the Fly Zone.